You just said we're a beacon, a moral beacon. So, in the history of this country, I think months after 9/11, there were 3 people who we thought knew about imminent attacks, and we did whatever we had to do. And I pray to God that till the end of time, we do whatever we have to do to find out what's happening. And the notion that this somehow makes America less great is asinine and dangerous. Does it help us kill people who want to kill us, regardless of what we do? But the notion that what we do affects the behavior of terrorists is a lie. It's a lie perpetrated by political correctness and by liberals, and it's dangerous.
That's just not true. That's not true.
That's how I feel. I think words matter. I think you've made that pretty clear this morning, and Senator Kerry is, I think, correctly concerned that debates like the one we're having right now may endanger American lives abroad. Are you at all worried that your prerogative to say all the things you said this morning about an American program that was approved by Democrats and Republicans in Congress, President and Vice President, is it worth it to you to have this debate and say the things you've said this morning if it endangers lives abroad?
How can having debates about torture endanger American lives if, as she argues, it's just a lie to claim that what we do affects the behavior of terrorists? She argues that it's a lie perpetrated by political correctness and by liberals, to claim that what we do affects the behavior of terrorists. Yet she also argues that just debating the report could endanger American lives abroad. She doesn't have principles. What she labeled as a lie is not a lie. And if she was really worried about lessening the chance of more violent retaliation against Americans in the form of terrorist attacks, she should be calling for the prosecution of those who perpetrated the torture program. And as I've made clear in other videos, retaliation for things that our government does in our name and that the powerful in this country lie to us about. There are powerful interests in this country that try to con the American public about why our lives are being put at risk. They tried to fool the American people into thinking that the actions carried out by U.S. foreign policy aren't the motivating factors for why terrorists attack Americans. All throughout the dominating media, we get dishonest arguments and unprincipled positions. Big media is putting her on TV to give her a platform to feed her dishonest arguments to millions of Americans. Clearly, the people who control mass media lack morals. They don't have principles of decency and honesty. They are and they serve the interests of the powerful, and there is little integrity at the top. More than one TV executive thought it was a good idea to pay this woman money so she could go on television and spread this garbage. People making contradictory and dishonest arguments like hers are what media power players think are the kinds of pundits we Americans deserve. This is another example, another dramatic example of why we need to have a system that's structured where we could get a counterbalance to this kind of power that corrupts our society. And I don't know what these media executives who do the hiring see in this woman, because she really slipped here. She says relitigating 2 times.
So you believe, though, that relitigating it is worth possibly, as Secretary Kerry has said, endangering American lives abroad in 2014?
It doesn't happen anymore because the current president has ruled it out.
Right,
but the very fact that everybody's
out there, it doesn't happen anymore. But you think that relitigating it now in this report is of sufficient value to, if heaven forbid, it should endanger lives abroad. You think the balance is correct that the Congress has struck?
They aren't relitigating it. So she thinks she's being slick here, complaining about it being relitigated. All they're doing is talking about it. It's bipartisan corruption. The Democrats and the Republicans are not calling for these crimes to be prosecuted, which we're obligated to do under international treaty, and it's a legal obligation according to domestic law. As I pointed out in this previous video on the other channel, he makes a grand speech denouncing these things, but doesn't say that these crimes must be prosecuted, which is an obligation. If we were a nation of laws, we'd have our representatives calling for the prosecution of those who perpetrate crimes, even if they are powerful people. If you want concrete proof that unethical, sick-minded people dominate our media system, look at this study. What was once reported clearly for years as torture was suddenly obscured in recent years when corrupt, powerful government officials began this torture program. From the early 1930s until the modern story broke in 2004, the newspapers that covered waterboarding almost uniformly called the practice torture or implied it was torture. By contrast, from 2002 to 2008, the studied newspapers almost never referred to waterboarding as torture. This is the main message that I've been trying to convey on this representative press channel. We cannot trust the current structure of the dominating media system. We must advocate for the formal establishment of a representative press through legislation to secure it as a system under the American people's control. Nichole Wallace isn't the only unethical person in the media. The people who do the hiring and who control the media are themselves unethical. Please use the YouTube tools to share this video with everyone you can. Look at this playlist for more examples of media malpractice. We have an urgent need to work together for the formal establishment of a representative press. That's why I ask you to share these videos with other people using the YouTube tools, and also consider subscribing to the blog as well, because I've heard from people saying they're not seeing my new videos in their subscription feed. And you might want to also set your subscription to YouTube send an email to you. See if that works for you, because I've heard from some people saying that works. But another thing is that maybe the blog updates could be emailed to you if you subscribe to the blog. I still think we could use this platform to advocate for this cause. In order to boost this effort, I want to get more equipment and make better use of this YouTube platform. If you want to help support my efforts, I hope to set up Google Wallet. I don't know how many more people will be more likely to give through Google Wallet compared to PayPal. And thank you to everyone that's donated. So if you're interested in helping my efforts so we can boost this to the next level, I'm thinking of better equipment, working with more people, and amplifying this message a lot more. I suggest setting up a blog if you want to be one of the representative press corps activists working to amplify these messages, because let's see what we can do. The status quo is unacceptable. It really puts our lives at risk. And here's something tangible we can do. Let's see how much we can get into the public discourse and how much change we can affect.